Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a really complex and sensitive topic, infidelity. Specifically, we're exploring the stories of women who have been unfaithful in their marriages. This isn't about judgment or pointing fingers. It's about understanding the human experience, the motivations, and the aftermath from a perspective we don't always get to hear. Why do people step outside their marriages? What are the feelings that come with it? Guilt, liberation, regret? And what happens next? These are the questions we'll be exploring. It's important to remember that every relationship is unique, and the reasons behind infidelity are incredibly varied. Sometimes it stems from a lack of emotional connection, where one partner feels unheard, unseen, or unappreciated. Over time, this emotional distance can create a void. If someone new comes along who offers that missing validation and attention, it can be a powerful temptation. It might start as a simple friendship, a conversation where you finally feel understood, and slowly evolve into something more. The initial feeling might not even be guilt, but a sense of relief or excitement, a feeling of being alive again. For others, the issue might be a lack of physical intimacy. When a couple's physical connection fades, it can leave one or both partners feeling rejected or undesirable. This can deeply affect self-esteem. In these situations, an affair might be less about emotional connection and more about reclaiming a sense of attractiveness and desire. It's a search for that spark, that feeling of being wanted, which may have been lost in the routine of a long-term marriage. The act itself might bring a temporary high, a validation of one's own appeal, but it's often followed by a complex mix of emotions. Then there are situations where the marriage itself has become toxic or unhealthy. If a relationship is filled with constant conflict, criticism, or control, one partner might seek solace elsewhere. An affair in this context can feel like an escape, a secret world where they can be themselves without fear of judgment or argument. It becomes a coping mechanism, a way to endure an unbearable home life. While it doesn't solve the underlying problems in the marriage, it provides a temporary refuge. The feelings involved are complicated. There's the relief of escape, but also the stress of leading a double life. Let's also talk about opportunity and circumstance. Sometimes infidelity isn't premeditated. It can happen unexpectedly: a business trip, a night out with friends, a moment of weakness fueled by alcohol or loneliness. In these cases, the person might not have been actively seeking to cheat, but a specific situation lowered their inhibitions and led to a decision they would later regret. The immediate aftermath is often pure panic and overwhelming guilt. The fear of being discovered and the potential destruction of their family can be all-consuming. Now, what about the feelings afterward? This is where it gets incredibly personal. For many, the dominant feeling is guilt, a deep, gnawing guilt that affects every aspect of their life. They see the pain they could cause their partner and their family, and it's a heavy burden to carry. This guilt can lead to depression, anxiety, and a constant state of stress. They might try to overcompensate in the marriage, becoming overly attentive and affectionate in an attempt to ease their own conscience. However, not everyone feels guilt in the same way. For some, an affair can bring a sense of clarity. It might highlight exactly what is missing in their marriage and force them to confront issues they've been avoiding for years. It can be a catalyst for change, prompting them to either seek counseling to fix the marriage or realize that the relationship is truly over. In a strange way, the act of cheating can sometimes lead to a more honest assessment of their own happiness and the state of their partnership. And what about regret? Would they do it again? This is the ultimate question. For a vast majority, the answer is a resounding no. The emotional toll, the risk of losing everything, and the pain caused are simply not worth it. They learn a hard lesson about themselves, their desires, and the consequences of their actions. Many who confess and work through the issue with their partner find a new, more honest foundation for their relationship. It's a difficult and painful path, but it can lead to healing and a stronger bond if both partners are committed. However, for a small number of people, the experience is different. If the affair was a symptom of a deeply broken marriage that ultimately ends, they might not regret the affair itself, but rather the pain it caused. They may see it as the necessary, albeit messy, event that pushed them to leave an unhealthy situation and find genuine happiness. They wouldn't seek to repeat the act of cheating in a future healthy relationship, but they might not carry the same kind of regret as someone who still loves their partner and wants to save their marriage. The key takeaway here is that infidelity is rarely a simple, black and white issue. It's a deeply human story, filled with complex emotions, motivations, and consequences. It's about loneliness, desire, pain, and the search for connection. Understanding these stories doesn't mean condoning the actions, but it does allow for a more compassionate and nuanced view of a difficult subject. It reminds us that behind every choice is a person with their own struggles and their own journey. If you or your partner are struggling with these issues, please know that communication is key. Talking to each other honestly, perhaps with the help of a professional marriage counselor, can make a world of difference. There are resources available to help you navigate these challenging waters and find a path forward, whether it's together or apart. Reaching out for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. Thank you for joining me for this thoughtful discussion today. If you found this perspective helpful, please like, share, and subscribe for more content. See you next time.